Welcome to the Vibrant Visibility Podcast. Being visible as a soul-led business owner isn't just about the practical strategies, marketing tips, and tech systems. It's also about the internal systems, the safety of your nervous system, the somatic connection, and the embodiment of being a badass CEO that will support you in all of the ups and downs of entrepreneurship. And I'm here to share all of that with you on this show. I'm your host, Shawnee Arsenault, a registered nurse turned visibility coach and business mentor for heart-centered coaches and healers. I created a six-figure coaching practice in my first year of business and scaled to multiple six figures my second year, all in the middle of getting pregnant with my first baby and becoming a new mama. If I can do this entrepreneurship thing, I know you can too. If you're ready to learn how to be a CEO in a way that feels aligned with your heart, become a lighthouse for the people that you're meant to serve, feel free to authentically express yourself and be a magnet for success, and grow your coaching business in a way that is sustainable and fulfilling, I can't wait to be in your ear along for the ride. Hello, my friends. How are you? Oh my gosh, I cannot believe we are on the last day of the year of 2024. Is it just me, or did this year completely fly by? I blinked and it was the end of the year. And I don't know if it's just because I have a toddler and I don't know, new mom life has really just blurred the last 2 years into one. And I honestly don't remember where last year ended and this year began. So I'm a little bit on, toddler time right now. But as I'm reflecting on this year, I spent some time, picking my word of the year for the new year. And before doing any of my goals for 2025, I did this practice last year and I really, really enjoyed it. And I listed out my top 10 wins of 2024. And a lot of it surprised me. If you go back to whenever my podcast was Aligned and Well, I shared my top 10 wins of the year from last year. And I just remember getting to the end of making that list and feeling so surprised with some of the stuff that I accomplished. And I actually did this exercise with a lot of my clients this year. I had them take some time on the call in session to write out their top 10 wins of the year. And I'm not just talking about wins that you think of immediately that come to mind. I'm thinking also like going back in your calendar and counting up all of the things that you did, the places that you traveled, the hours that you've coached. I think in 2023, one of my favorite wins that I wrote down was how many ounces of breast milk that I pumped that year, because I had just had my son. And it really is nice to just kind of see all of those wins listed out, because I think we can get to the end of the year and then think how did this year go by so fast? And what all did I do this year? What did I even do? And taking this time to reflect back on our wins from the previous year can really help set us up for a really awesome beginning of the new year. So I'm going to share my top 10 wins of 2024 with you today and just give my thoughts and reflections on what I learned about myself and what came up for me as I was making this wins list. Okay, are you guys ready? So my first win of the year, and this is in no particular order too. I did these top 10 wins and I didn't really have a priority for them. I just kind of wrote down the things that were important to me to reflect on and look back on. So the first win that I wrote down, which actually blew my mind, was I counted up all of the hours that I spent coaching this year. Meaning all of the free calls that I did, all of the client calls that I did, both in my membership and in my group coaching program and my one-on-one calls. I coached 367 hours this year. Holy shit, that is a lot of hours. And one thing that really came up for me as I see that number and as I really reflect on that many hours of coaching is, it's kind of giving myself that credit of I feel really confident in my ability to coach. I feel really confident in my ability to hold space for my clients and coach them really powerfully, to deeply listen to them and reflect back to them what they're telling me. I mean, I feel so confident in my ability to coach. And I think seeing that number really validates that confidence that I have, because I think whenever I was first starting out, at least, I would feel confident and then I would still kind of convince myself that I shouldn't feel confident because I'm still so new at this, right? But now, 3 years into my business, I've coached 367 hours in just this 1 year alone. And so I think that confidence is warranted. Like I feel really, really good about how much time I've spent serving my clients and pouring into all of my different spaces that I've created in my business so far. Um, and so for you listening to this, if you are still at the beginning of your coaching business, I would count up how many hours total you have spent either coaching other humans or working on your coaching business or like whatever feels supportive for you. Like if seeing your number of coaching hours isn't going to inspire you, maybe pick a different metric that you know would make you feel really, really proud of yourself of the work that you've put in. Um, Specifically for those of you who are like maybe still in certification or still just starting your businesses, like putting in the amount of hours that you've spent learning a new skill, right? Like that can be a really great metric to measure. But for those of you who are in your coaching practices and you are just at the stage of like building and growing, I think it's a really, really cool metric to measure and count up all of the hours that you've spent coaching and that you've spent mastering your skill. Because I also think that that can give you some really good, hard evidence of pricing your offers appropriately, of, feeling confident whenever you are selling your coaching packages or your courses or whatever it is that you are putting out there. I think having the hours that you've spent on the expertise that you coach around can be really, really helpful. So, wow. Yeah. 367 hours of coaching this year. Holy shit. That blows my mind. And I'm really proud of that. I'm really proud that I poured that much time into coaching because actually coaching is what I love to do, right? It's like one of the biggest reasons why I do what I do is like the actual coaching part of it is something that is so fun for me, is something that is so fulfilling. So I'm really happy to see that I spent a lot of my time in coaching spaces, actually holding space for humans. Okay. The second thing that I wrote down, my second win for 2024 is that I had my first successful launch of my group program, Vibrant Visibility, bringing in 27K for that launch. And that one makes me feel so excited. It makes me feel so proud of myself. The reason being, I can't tell you how many launches I've done in my business that have totally flopped. Okay. I tried to run a group coaching program my first year of business and totally flopped. I tried to launch a retreat earlier this year, totally flopped. And so to see whenever I feel really aligned with an offer, whenever I feel totally in alignment with an offer and the decision to launch it comes from a place of deep inner knowing, comes from a place of intuition, it brings in that abundance. And it's just nice to see that written out. Yeah, like whenever I think, and you guys have heard me talk about this in previous episodes, but whenever I was creating Vibrant Visibility, everything flowed so effortlessly. Everything flowed so seamlessly. The ideas kept pouring out. I didn't feel like I was trying really hard to create the program or to market for the program because it just felt so natural to me. And that is something that's a level of peace and a level of ease and flow that I've been chasing after in my business, and to be able to experience it live for a launch of something really new in my business, but also something really meaningful, a program that I've poured so much of my own heart and my soul into. Oh, it's just like one of the best feelings. So for those of you who are thinking about launching something that is deep inside of your heart that really wants to come out, and you're unsure about it, my one piece of advice here is to just make sure that you don't put pressure on yourself to release it, put pressure on yourself to put it out there. I came up with the idea for my Vibrant Visibility program, I think a year and a half before I actually launched it. And I patiently waited for it to feel right, for it to feel completely in alignment. And once it did, I was just able to let things flow, let things come out. And the launch was really seamless, So I think there are opportunities here for you to be able to create that ease in your business. And it all comes down to trust, right? I had this deep level of trust that this launch was going to go well. And even if it didn't, I also had trust in myself that like I could recover from it and not make it mean anything about me, that I could use it to learn a lot to make the next launch of it really impactful and really successful. So I also had this trust that I was going to be fine either way, right? Okay. That was my second win. My third win of the year was a personal one. And this is the thing. I made sure that I combined some business wins with also personal wins, with also wins that reflected my personal life, my own interests, and that weren't all just about clients or money or business or whatever. Because I think that was also a really important part of my journey this year was reconnecting with myself and finding myself again. I think last year was my first year as a mom, and it was a lot of identity shifting and role shifting for me. And it was really heavy. It was really heavy for me to navigate my new role. I was battling postpartum depression last year and a little bit into this year. And so I'll talk about that. That's another part of my wins later. But I started reading for fun again this year. That was my third win, was I started reading for fun again, and I started spending time on hobbies that I really loved. So scrapbooking and reading and calligraphy and doing art on my iPad, like serving no other purpose than to have a good time and enjoy myself. And that has been a really fun journey for me. I mean, I haven't picked up a fiction book in years. Like it's been years since I actually read for fun. I have been deep in the world of personal development and business. And so a lot of my media that I consume, a lot of the podcasts and books that I read are focused on that. And so it was just really nice to give myself permission to take a step back from the personal development and the constant need to grow and improve and work on myself and just read for pure fun. And I really, really consider that like one of my biggest wins of the year, because I've really tapped into my ability to enjoy life and to have fun and not take it so seriously. And it feels so good. It's allowed me to be more authentic and more pure and more just in alignment with the work that I do as a visibility coach, as a business mentor. Okay. Another big win for me is I lost 30 pounds this year. 30 pounds of the baby weight that I gained with my pregnancy. I gained 60 pounds in pregnancy. And I've really been prioritizing both my physical health and my mental health and nutrition. Okay. So I struggled a lot. I had a really difficult pregnancy. I had preeclampsia, and you guys have all heard my birth story in my previous episode that I recorded whenever my podcast was Aligned and Well and Not Vibrant Visibility. I shared really raw and vulnerably my birth story. And because I had preeclampsia, because I had some health issues there, I gained a lot of weight. And I've always been someone to struggle with my weight, to struggle with my body image. And I went through a few phases of weight loss in the past. And this time it felt a little bit different because of the childbirth aspect of it. And there was like a layer of PTSD from experiencing birth trauma there. And so it wasn't just about the physical weight that I gained, but it was also about the mental weight, the hit to my mental health that happened after giving birth. And I spent a lot of time in therapy. I spent a lot of time, working with my primary care physician on a treatment plan that worked really well for me. I started medication for postpartum depression, and then started to really focus on my nutrition and eating really well, drinking a lot of water. And I'm really, really excited that I've lost 30 pounds and I feel really good. I feel really good in my body. I finally feel like myself, and I have a relationship with my body that's definitely been kind of like up and down for the last, I don't know, I would say decade. But after childbirth, I think I really had to redefine my relationship with my body because I think with the birth trauma, it also felt like I was in a body that was failing me and that was failing my son. And I've talked about this before, but uh, this when I don't know, it just makes me feel really like warm and fuzzy on the inside because it's not even so much about the weight lost and physical aspect of losing the weight and being able to fit in my clothes better. It's just the emotional weight of it. You know, I feel like with that 30 pounds lost, I've also released a lot of beliefs about myself, about my body that are not serving me anymore. And it's just been a beautiful journey. It's been a beautiful journey to come back home to that and to feel like I am me again, you know? My fifth big win of the year is I expanded my team. So I had always had a VA. I've had a VA for about a year, and then I ended up releasing one of my old VAs and hired a new one this year. And then I also hired an OBM, an online business manager, and I expanded my team so that I could feel more supported as I continued to grow and scale my business. And I really grappled with this one of expanding my team again. And I think it was just one of the best decisions that I've made because I got to a point in my business where I really do love doing the admin stuff and love doing the operational side of things. And it was getting to be too much. You know, it was getting to be overwhelming, and it was taking away time that I wanted to spend serving my clients and being on client calls and supporting my clients in between sessions and creating. Like, I love the creative aspect of it. And I wasn't able to do that as much the more the operations and like admin stuff started to pile on. So I hired an OBM. Oh my gosh, it was one of the best decisions I've ever made. And I'm so, so excited. And one of the biggest things that I learned was whenever it's time, do it, right? Whenever it's time, like stop putting it off. Like I think I put it off for a little while. And there's always a fear of investing in support in that way. But if you are at the place in your business where you've kind of hit your ceiling and you want to be able to scale and grow faster, having a team to support you is a really, really helpful next step for you. So I think hiring team was one of my biggest wins of the year for sure, because it opened up so much spaciousness for me to be able to focus on other areas of my business that light me up more, that I can really pour a lot more of my energy and my heart into. And I really, really enjoyed that. Okay, number 6 for me was I invested in a website brand refresh. And it feels so good to say that. It feels so good to have an online presence that really represents who I am as a coach and a business owner. And I think it was time, you know, in my 3rd year of business, I finally feel really clear on who I am as a coach and what my offers are. And that's actually win number 7 for me is I feel super clear on my offers and the structure of my business without feeling like I'm doing anything because I have to, but rather that I've built my business on what feels in alignment and what feels exciting. For the longest time, I avoided calling myself a business coach or claiming the business coach, the visibility coach aspect, because there was still a part of me that was holding on to what I originally set out to do whenever I became a coach, was to do like health and wellness and life coaching, which I still do a little bit of that as a business coach, but it wasn't lighting me up, you know, like I really, really enjoy the visibility part of it. I love the somatic work. I love business strategy and marketing and language and that kind of thing. And so once I really started to own that, I felt it was time. Like I wanted to rebrand and refresh my website and all of my offers to really reflect the work that I'm passionate about doing. I am passionate about helping healers and coaches feel safe to be seen so that they can share their healing gifts with the world in a really authentic and aligned way. And I am so, so glad that I invested in that this year, because my website, I'm so proud of it. I love my website. It's so exciting. And I love looking at it. Like, I just feel like it's such a beautiful representation of what I've built my business to be. So those were my wins 6 and 7 this year of investing in the brand refresh, the website refresh, and that I feel like I can confidently say I am super clear on what I offer and the structure of my business. Okay, so the last 3 here, number 8. I have supported a total of 131 clients across all of my different spaces and offers. So this is also wild to me, kind of in the same line with my first win that I mentioned of coaching the 367 hours. I'm comparing this to last year, and I held space for 34 clients last year as their coach and did up to, I think, 180 hours of one-on-one coaching and 116 hours of group coaching. The amount of people that I've been able to help this year and the amount of hours I've spent coaching this year compared to last year is wild to me. And I just feel so proud of that I have been able to grow and scale my business to a point where I can serve more people still in a really powerful way and meet all of those people exactly where they are and have an offer suite that offers different ways for people to work with me because not everybody can afford the one-on-one space. And I really love that I have a space for people that's low cost where they can still feel connected to me. They can still do really powerful work. And yeah, I see that and I get so excited for the future of my business and what I'm going to create next. Okay. The next one, I became a certified somatic coach. I have incorporated a way of supporting my clients and myself that feels so enriching and nourishing for both my mind, my body, and my soul. Oh my gosh. Somatic work has literally changed my life. It has changed my life in so many ways, not just in the way that I coach and the way that I support my clients, but in the way that I operate in my daily life. Like it has really supported me in my transition into new motherhood, into scaling my business, into this possibility of me like going through all of these different life transitions. You know, we're potentially thinking about moving to another country, like all of these different things. Somatic work has been the foundation of my healing and my growth and my journey. And I can't even say how important it has been for me. Okay. And then the last win that I have from 2024 is that I learned to stand on my own 2 feet in my business. And I intuitively felt that it was time to really shift my income streams this year. And this was really big for me because I had been dreaming about a group program. I had been dreaming about a space that felt not like my membership and not like my one-on-ones, but more tailored to the somatic elements of visibility and being seen. It's something that I support a lot of my clients with. But I had just seen this vision of this program for so long and I had been waiting for the right opportunity to pursue it, to launch it, to put it out there into the world. And again, kind of like I talked about earlier, I felt really anxious to get it out there. And there were circumstances that happened this year that were kind of that push for me to really stand on my own 2 feet, to create this program, to start building my empire. And I kind of resisted that invitation at first, honestly, because it felt scary. It felt scary to release other streams of income and bring in this new stream of income that I had never sold before. I've never created anything like this before. And it was something really brand new. It was a really beautiful exercise for me in trust, in trusting in myself and leaning in the confidence that I have in my ability to coach and be a really powerful leader in my community and to build my own ecosystem in my business. You know, I think whenever I first started my business, I had opportunities that came to me that made building very easy, that made building my business and expanding my income streams, expanding my revenue, it made that a little easier. And the thought of having to release some of those things and create something totally new that was completely mine, ooh, it felt scary. It felt vulnerable. It felt like a big leap. And I really had to work on my mindset around it because logically, I knew I had the skills to be able to be successful with that. Logically, I knew that I was going to be good at it, at launching my own program, my own course. And there was still that part of me that was really afraid. Like, what if you fail? What if you fail publicly in front of everybody? What if you sign people into this program and nobody experiences a change? Everybody thinks it sucks. Like there's that voice that will always come in. Um, but I am so, so proud of myself that I allowed myself to be supported in all of that. Anytime I felt that doubt or that fear, I would lean into my resources. I would lean into the practices that help me feel supported. And I would ask for help. I would reach out to my coach. I would talk to my husband. I would, utilize the people in the community, the people that I've surrounded myself with to borrow their confidence in me whenever I didn't have it myself. I consider myself a pretty confident person, but sometimes it's not always there and it's not always accessible. And sometimes you really do have to hear that confidence, hear those qualities reflected back to you as you gather evidence to help support this belief in yourself. You know what I mean? So that was my 10 top wins of 2024. Yeah, even as I reflect on all of this and I say this out loud, it just feels really good to be able to have a list of these wins and kind of have a snapshot of my year and the growth that I've experienced this year, especially compared to last year. Like, this is my second year in a row doing these top 10 wins. And just to even see these wins stacked up to the wins from last year as well. Not that any wins are better than the others, but it is gathering evidence of why success is inevitable, right? So if you have not done this yet, I highly, highly encourage you to take some time, take some dedicated time to slow down a little bit and be slow with this exercise, be intentional with this exercise, and write down your top 10 wins from the year, both business and personal. Count up your hours, maybe even think about some weird metrics that might sound strange at first, but might actually really impress you after you count them up. And just think about the ways in which you've grown. I think it is so, so important. This evaluation piece is so important whenever we own our own businesses because it really does reinforce the fact that we have worked so hard to get to where we are, every single one of us. If you were an entrepreneur that is still kicking, right? If you're an entrepreneur that has not given up yet and hasn't quit, evaluating and celebrating yourself and giving yourself credit for all the work that you've done is one of the most important ways to make this a sustainable thing, right? Like, it allows you to stay connected to your work. It allows you to feel that sense of pride and that sense of reward. So I encourage you to do this. I would love to hear what your top 10 wins were. If you've already done this exercise, please share them with me. If you haven't, take some time, do this slowly, and feel free to email me and share your lists with me. I would love, love, love to read them and celebrate with you and honor all of the work that you have done to make this year amazing. I hope you all have a beautiful last day of 2024. And I hope we ring in the new year with some just renewed energy and feeling in alignment with what our mission is as coaches, as healers, right? If you felt disconnected from your purpose, this is your invitation to come back home to what is true to you, what's true in your heart. I am going to be hosting a workshop in a couple of weeks on January 16th, actually, on the art of being seen. So if this deep transformational work on being more visible, putting yourself out there in a really authentic and aligned way, if that calls to you, I would love to see you at that workshop. It's called The Art of Being Seen. It is January 16th at 11 a.m. Pacific time. It's a free workshop, so I'll have the link to register for that in the show notes for you. Have a wonderful end to the year, and I am here rooting for you, sending you so much love, and I'll see you next time. Thanks so much for tuning in today. If this was helpful for you, subscribe to the show to make sure you're always in the loop when a new episode is out. And I would love to invite you to join me in the free Visibility and Tech Support for Coaches community, where we hang out and chat about all things visibility, tech, systems, and heart-centered business building. I regularly share tips and tutorials and go live every now and then, and it's just nice to be in a community with other like-minded coaches and healers. So you can join this free space at alignwellco.com/community, and I can't wait to see you there.